Bhuvanesh Awasthi from UK, University of Glasgow Research Associate. He is an MS in something called conscious studies, so that should be really, really interesting. So Bhuvanesh's talk is on social neuroscience and neuroeconomics, perception and decision making.
Last but not the least is Bhuvanesh Awasthi. Wait till you hear his fun fact, okay? But before that, let me give you the serious part of Bhuvanesh Awasthi's intro. He's at University of Glasgow Research Associate. So this way we are representing, by the way, 3 continents here. Harsha from India, Avtar and myself from the Americas, and he is from Europe. I'm a cognitive scientist. He's with expertise in behavioral and brain imaging investigations of human perception and consciousness. Put simply, he researches human thoughts, feelings, and decision making. Prior to University of Glasgow, UK, he worked at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, in the United States, the Higher School of Economics in Moscow, Russia, and CSIRO, the National Science Agency of Australia. His early training was in life sciences from the University of Pune, followed by a master's in consciousness studies from BITS Pilani. I didn't even know that BITS Pilani had consciousness studies, but that's all right. I believe you. And a PhD in cognitive science from Macquarie University, Sydney, Australia. His findings have been widely published in international peer-reviewed journals, and he has presented research at various fora, including at Harvard Medical School, Society of Neuroscience, San Diego, and in Paris, and in Gordon Conference in Maine, USA, Royal Society, London, UK, and so on and so forth. We are really pleased to have you, Bhuvanesh. And now the fun fact. Would you believe he enjoys Sanskrit hymns and spent time living in Maturu, a Sanskrit village in Karnataka? So
thank you everyone for being here. Good afternoon to everyone. So as part of the BITS, as the premier institution in India and also elsewhere, most of us see and hear about technology and engineering. I am from the last alphabet science side. So I conduct pure science research in a frontier area called cognitive science. BITS happens to be a frontier institution because it started back in 1990s, the only in the world's first consciousness studies program. So today I'll talk about another frontier area called neurotechnologies. I hope my slides come up soon. All right. So I'll be discussing issues around how do we experience the world? How do we see anything? How do we make sense of the world? Most of us discuss what we are doing in terms of technology and advancements. I will talk about the fundamental foundations of innovation, inspiration in industry. And that's your brain, or that's your mind. How do we experience the world? That has been my focus for quite a while now. So understanding human behavior, for understanding human behavior, we need to understand human mind. What makes human mind work the way it works? So my area of expertise is cognitive science, which is the science of mind and decision making. Specifically, I address questions of perception, emotions, and decision making in the context of consciousness and the nature of experience. So today I'll be discussing or taking you through a quick journey of what's happening in the area of study of mind. How do we make sense of the world? How do we see this? How do we make decisions? As I mentioned, all human activity is a function of human mind, and it is neural or mental in origin. And cognitive science is a discipline which looks at the mind, behavior, and decision making. Today, I'll be discussing mostly the area of neurotechnologies because we are discussing technologies and online education as part of the focus group. But the larger questions of perception, emotions, decision making, and even bigger questions like consciousness remain open for science and for inquiry. You can catch me later for those kinds of questions for a conversation. I'm quite new here in the sense that I only attended a previous PGM and I don't see any other batchmates. So please find me. Thank you. So neurotechnology innovation comes from the research in neuroscience, which has been on the rise for over 50 years. If you look at the Nobel Prizes in neuroscience particularly, there have been quite a steady progress. So from the 1957 to 61, 63, 67, all the way up to 2014, as you see, these are the Nobel Prizes awarded to neuroscientists. So this has been a frontier area in the last few years. For instance, just a data point from 2012 to 2014, the amount of publication increase has been phenomenal. There is a boom in neurotechnology innovation. Patents have quadrupled since the beginning of millennium. By 2014, the number of neurotech patents were greater than 1,600 and pending over about 1,500. So much of this work has dealt with cognitive phenomena. I won't be discussing neurotechnologies in other domains, but primarily in cognitive. So functional neuroimaging, the 2003 Nobel Prize for MRI went to these people for technologists and engineers like you and many more in the making for functional imaging. So one of the popular methods called functional MRI, when you go to a doctor, particularly to a neurologist or to a psychiatrist, they ask you for a scan when they suspect something is not very well as far as structure is concerned. I do look at structure as well as the function of the brain, non-invasively. Other methods like electroencephalography, EEG, measuring the electrical impulses coming out of your head. Right now, when you are all listening, your brain is working. There are electrical firings happening. Similarly, other methods like magnetoencephalography, discovered in MIT about 30 years ago. So these methods are at the cutting edge of trying to figure out what's happening inside you when you are thinking, feeling, making a choice. To give you a quick perspective, back in 1997, we discovered the area responsible for face recognition, so called fusiform face area. So this has been a seminal discovery in terms of localization of the function. A year later, in 1998, we discovered parahippocampal place area. This is all for humans. I'm not discussing other research, specifically human, because I'll be talking about thought, perception, and decision making. So in 1998, another team, also from MIT, discovered parahippocampal place area. This area is responsible for your navigation. So today, most of you have come back to your campus, particularly students, many more people. They have been able to do that because your parahippocampal place area is functional, a specialized area in the brain responsible for recognition of scene, outdoor and indoor landmarks, etc. Few years later, in 2005, we discovered the area responsible for object recognition, like the table, the chair, the dais, all kinds of objects. It's called lateral occipital complex. I've tried to label them for curious-minded people. I can discuss them in detail later on. So essentially, neurotechnology innovation has been in particularly three areas. One is brain-computer interfaces. We have had some sessions discussing or pointing towards those. Cognitive enhancement technology and nerve stimulation. Essentially, a lot of applications in medicine, defense, and law have crept up in the recent years. So this is the picture from Pittsburgh lab showing how you can actually read out your brain signals, send it to a robot, which will move instead of you. So your movement, your thinking about a movement or your will of a movement can be read by machines. We can make them do it, and you would be able to remotely control. Right now, this is all in an experimental stage. Other methods like shared brain imaging or shared brain connections. So two people and their brains can be connected so that we can understand how they interact. Also, electrical brain implants for the treatment has been under investigation. You can also control robots directly using your neural signals. DARPA, for instance, has a very famous, well-known system called Cognitive Technology Threat Warning System, CT2WS, which is a three-part system. Uses high-resolution, high-range video camera. Cognitive algorithms, particularly for vision, because we are visual animals. 40% of the brain is dedicated to vision. And EEG brain waves to detect subconscious detection, because there are lots of processing which goes on unconsciously. You're not aware of them, but your system is. This had good success rate, about 95% of threat detection, very low false alarm rate. Just to give you a basic idea about how these things are moving forward. This was discussed in the 2014 publication. There is a lot of work in wearable neurotechnology, AI technology, autonomous vehicles. Most of us have read about or heard about, might have seen if you live in Pittsburgh or San Francisco, the driverless cars. Lots of work, not only in technology, but also for healthy body and healthy minds. So technologies to improve sleep quality, reduce stress, and maintain cognitive performance. Also, certain types of sleep aid masks which impact body clock and circadian rhythms, essentially using light therapy to obtain optimized sleep patterns. Sleep is an area which is under research, but still a lot of acknowledgement that this is something which is of the need. More research on meditation. I was in Wisconsin. We have a famous center called Center for Investigating Healthy Minds previously, looking at meditation. There are meditation headbands which measure brain activity through sensors and neurofeedback. Then there is something called brain wave entrainment. We can actually look at your brain wave patterns and send them to a particular device which can give you a background information about what's happening. One recent application has been for Alzheimer's disease, where we know that the production of beta amyloid plaques are responsible for that, and delta brain wave states can stop that kind of amylose production. Other applications have been into neuromarketing and neuroeconomics area. Some of my work in Russia, looking at how we can measure brain activity to present you with certain types of products and how you make choices based on certain types of products. Another brain initiative started in 2013 by the US President, which looks at the insights and pathologies of certain kinds of neurodegenerative disorders. Using virtual reality, another technology, people have looked at what happens to your sense of self, particularly an out-of-body experience created in a laboratory setup. For the first time, people actually made you experience something which was quite unusual. So you would feel that you have come out of your own body, to the extent that philosophers were discussing that what's happening is we are revising our notions of what we are doing, who we are, and what we believe in. So all of these are dependent on your information processing. Henrik Hersen, a researcher in Stockholm I interacted and collaborated with, talks about the need for the concept of soul. More on this for the later discussion sessions. So global neurotechnology saw 160 billion revenue between pharmaceuticals, devices, and diagnostics in 2014. Now we can surely enhance human intelligence, make people more efficient, alert, and effective. But my questions are for everyone and for the larger good. Can we make them more empathetic? Can we make them more ethical? And is there a possibility for greater good? Thank you for your attention.
Other questions? Yes, ma'am, please.
My question is, are you using this sort of the brain entrainment, etc., and all, currently applying it in the the neurosciences field and all, applying it towards Alzheimer's, towards what you call schizophrenics, etc.? Is it being applied currently?
Yes, exactly. Yes, definitely.
And how?
No, technology doesn't work when it is in your hands.
Thank you. Yes. First of all, thank you for your comment. And secondly, yes, a lot of work has been going on in the area of how do we manage, or if not manage, treat, which is a longer term perspective of, particularly in the neurodegenerative conditions. So yes, I worked in Wisconsin where a lab discovered for the first time that Alzheimer's subjects have difficulty smelling different kinds of things. So I worked in smell research previously. Using smell research and then different kinds of entrainment methods, we are working on it. We don't have a solution yet, but we are moving forward. Additionally, work on entrainment, particularly you can actually, right now, if you have a battery, cell phone battery, I don't recommend it, but you can actually change the neural circuitry excitation just by putting a small battery on your head, non-invasively. Hopefully it should be just a few milliampere currents. It actually changes your neural circuitry, its behavior. So this is an area which is under investigation, but sooner or later we will have some better understanding. If your research moves with a lot of open questions, they happen to have applications on the way.
Thank you. I want to thank you, Avtar. Thank you, Harsha and Bhuvanesh. Thank you very much.